This is me. So please accept me for who I am. And please accept me for what I do. Cause there's no me without you. So all I can be is true. In a world where one has places to go, people to see, and money to make, how does one find time to get all of it done? I'm not even wearing a watch. See, this is the Hustle for Show. And my name is Ryan Vernon. So, engineering, entrepreneurship, education, entertainment, and that last E. For now, we'll say ego. But that last E. So, making my life easy. If we look on the idea of, let's say we take the next several episodes and kind of like going into how those E's affect my life and like just learning more about my life, if that makes sense. Let's start with ego. And so ego, let me pull out my handy dandy dictionary, because for me it's the idea that if you see it, you can be it. Again, it's the Hustle of a Show. If you can see it, now be it. If you can see it, you can be it. Now see it and be it. This life you'll need three things: ambition, persistent, consistency. Just a young kid on a mission from space, like a saying. But now if we look at the idea of ego and we look at our dictionary, because we read a book one time and we learned from people that if you just study the dictionary, you could get pretty far in life. Ego. 1. The self as distinguished from others. 2. The one of the three divisions of the psyche in psychoanalytic theory that is the organized conscious mediator between the person and reality. That gives like an idea of like what is ego, you feel me? At least from my dictionary. Not from a phone, not from Google searching, but from my dictionary, because now when you look at a dictionary is like a timestamp of like what a word actually is. Shout out to Malcolm X. So let's talk about the ego, you feel me? And I don't even know how to like talk about the ego and like me, you feel me? Because like, how do I like describe myself basically? Like, oh my God, like I'm me, you feel me? Yeah, now you like take examples and it's like, F it, let me just talk about things. So one thing people find ways to like relate to things is like horoscopes, if that makes sense. So like sun, moon, rising, things like that. So for me, I'm a Capricorn sun. Moon rising, I would like to share, but again, this is the internet. And is the internet really a safe space? Yet, now just think about like Capricorns, I hear like they're like people who like to think about the future, things like that. And I can kind of relate to that with the idea, even now I think about this dictionary. It's going to take me time to read it. Again, a place where one has places to go, people to see, and money to make. How does one find time to get it done? I mean, that was one definition. Yet it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? I'm going to get through as many of these words as possible, but in a way, why would I not have someone who's like in a way younger than me read some definitions for me and help me out? Again, it's going to take time to read this. But that's just horoscope stuff. So like, what more is it to like this idea of like ego, if that makes sense? We take a look at love languages. Shout out to the M4 show. They're doing a rebrand. I don't know the name off top. Forgive me. But I'm gonna put the link in the description. Like how do you love? Because I hear home is where the heart is at. If home is where the heart is at, then it's like, how do you love? So if you look at like your love languages, for me, there's the idea of there's quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts. There's 5 of them. Words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, gifts giving, and acts of service. There we go. So there's 5 of them. And it's interesting because now when you like look at my life and look at from when I initially did it was in college several years ago to like now, I did it a couple years ago, but like after graduating from college, when I was doing like a test for like love languages, I was like, whoa, it's changing. Literally. It's like, whoa, it's changing. Initially, like acts of service was like one of my biggest love languages, physical touch and quality time for like high up there, and like words of affirmation and gift giving were like kind of on the lower bar. Doing it again after college, I remember I was doing the test. I was like, oh my God, I know it's changing just throughout the test. Now doing the test and like getting the results after college was the idea that was like, oh, words of affirmation was sky high basically. And literally like balance on the bottom was the idea of it was physical touch, quality time, and the other 2. And that was interesting to me because it was like, I don't think how I love changed. Yet I just had a better understanding of how I love, if that makes sense. Shout out to the ego. Shout out to the ego. And shout out to life. Because throughout life, it just gives you a chance to really learn about yourself. If you take a pause in a world where one has places to go, people to see, and money to make. So much so, how many people actually find time to, in a way, hug a tree? So much so, learning about myself has come to the idea that, maybe it's not me. Maybe it's the system. I think it's the movie Good Will Hunting, where that scene that goes, it's not your fault. And it's kind of like, oh, whatever. And it's like, oh, no, it's not your fault. And it's kind of like, whatever. And it's like, no, it's not your fault. And then the person has a breakdown. Something so much so that I had to like reflect on myself and go with the idea that it's like, wait a second. I find myself having like talents in areas. Maybe it's not my fault. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's the system. Yet now when you have like an understanding of yourself, you can kind of go to the idea that it's like, well, now I understand myself and I understand how I play in the system. Why would I not play this game better? So shout out to the ego. You feel me? Shout out to life. You feel me? Shout out to finding outlets for yourself. Because now you can look at ego and be like, okay, I understand that I have an ego. But now how do I bring that ego out to the world, basically? Things for me, at least. Shout out to my history and like shout out to high school sports, because the idea that when I now look at my life, again, the idea of being a Capricorn, I know how to build and things like that. Yet now when you look at your life, it's like, wait, I build before. I think about like high school sports, if that makes sense. And the idea that it's like, I actually did pretty well in high school sports. What about me doing well in high school sports now carry overs to like today's world to like make me like continue to be well and like do well in life. Ideas are like working out, studying the game, being consistent with practice, and knowing that it's like if I lose, that's not something to give up on. Yet it's something where it's like, let me analyze how I lost and let me do better the next time. Shout out to books, you feel me? Because it gives you a way to say something like so common through a lens of there's no way I could have like said it on my own because language is just language. Who knows what words I could use, you feel me? Yet I read a book once, shout out to Think and Grow Rich. The idea that a winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. If I said it in the right order. And I remember writing it out one day in all caps, because that's what the book said. And now looking back on it, it's like, that's so true. A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. Shout out to the ego. Because there's these different things that I go, At times I look at my life and I'm just like, sheesh. I don't see how anyone else could do it besides me, you feel me? Literally, I think about some things in my life and I'm just like, sheesh. You're going through that, you feel me? And you still have a smile on your face, you feel me? I'm like, sheesh. Yet, when you now look at like reality and learn a little bit about yourself, it's the idea that it's like, everything is in your mind. So what's on your mind? In a way, what is your ego? And in a way, shout out to that last E, that ego at the end of the day. So if I want to transition the channel, shout out to season 2. If I want to transition this channel to the idea of we're going to focus on engineering, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and ego, let's talk about those things. Yet, damn, you really have to, in a way, develop the mind, develop your ego to, in a way, create the change that you want to see. Life is literally interesting. But again, in a world where one has places to go, people to see and money to make, I just want to remind y'all, keep hustling, y'all. Keep hustling. Peace.